Exactly. I get that. Like, I mean, the thing is, I've got a brother in Sydney as well and a sister in New Zealand. So most of
Right.
my family is overseas. And then when we go and talk about it, and they go, but you've already made your life there. And why are you telling us not to go? So the funny thing is, me
Yeah.
and my friend, who, as I said, is head of forestry in Fiji, and we were talking about it. And she was saying, she thought it's so amazing. I've come to here, and I said, "You amazing. You're head of the department there." So I think the grass is always greener,
Rather
somewhere else. So
right.
I think it is kind of like the culture is there. But when I migrated, as I said, I did a forestry degree, and I thought I will just come here and get a forestry job.
Hmm.
But when I came in, and this is a challenge that I think everyone does, migrants get. And when I came in, I started applying for jobs every year. And I know that I applied for about 200 jobs because
Wow.
I'm a very dedicated person. And I was applying for jobs, and I was applying for forestry jobs. And the question that I used to get, even though I had a degree in Fiji and I had 4 years experience in a degree in Australia and 4 years experience in Fiji in forestry, the question I used to get was, but you did really well and everything, but you haven't got any experience in Australia. And I hear
Hmm.
that same thing for a lot of people who are new migrants to Australia, and they go, I'm applying for jobs, and they're saying, you haven't got experience in here. If you don't give me an experience, how will I going to get an experience?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was a big, I suppose, it hits your ego, hits your self-esteem. You think you had, and I think that's one of the things I really openly tell people, because even financially, you don't plan that you're going to have a time of not your own job or your own caliber of job. I mean, in the end, I got a forestry job and I moved to Melbourne because, obviously I thought I was going to live in Queensland,
Hmm.
coming from Fiji, and I got a job in forestry in Melbourne, but it took me about 11 months and I had to take another job,
Oh, wow.
just another job, like sort of doing in patching and something else. Um, but one of the things, I think a lot of migrants, as I was saying, we come with our own story in our head. We think we come with all this, experience and degrees and PhDs, etc., and we'll get a job. And we don't plan financially as well, that there might be time that you might not be having any jobs as well. So I, had that situation, and I had again someone in Canberra who sort of was like a father figure to me, and I used to talk to him, and I was like, I can't go back to Fiji. I had a good job, but the reason I couldn't go back to Fiji was this thing is how I'm gonna show my face to the rest of the people who thought I was so intelligent,
Hmm.
so smart, and had everything here, and I came in and haven't got a job. And this person said to me, and he was working in a government organization as well and a higher level, and he said, look, I had the same issue, and that was he had, that 20 years ago before me, and he said, take the first job you can. Don't worry about your education. Take the first job you can. Start working there, and then keep applying, because then you will have Australian experience and reference from that job. It doesn't matter what the job is. And that's what
Hmm.
made me take a job in Sydney. And then when I applied for a job in Melbourne in forestry, I was never good at interview. Most people from cold background are never good at interviews because we are
Hmm.
taught to be very humble. We are
Yeah.
taught not to speak about our own selves. So I never did a good job in interview. But
Hmm.
my reference was glowing. And my manager at
Hmm.
that time told me that you really did bad in your interview, but you had a really glowing reference, and we
Wow.
got you on the basis of your reference. So I think that's
Right.
the message I want to give it to everyone there. Like, don't get discouraged if you don't get in your field. You might start with something and keep trying where you are want to go to, and you will get there. I got there,
Hmm.
and anyone will get there. But the beginning, you might have to go a down sort of thing before you climb up. But also at the
Right.
same time, I also try to put the messages through my discussions with government organizations, particularly, or the policymakers, that we have to think about how we recruit individuals.
Hmm.
Krunal,
We
I
will talk
don't
about
know.
that later.